Hey, one more thing before you go. In this episode of Over the Teacup After Show, Diane and I are going to have a conversation about episode 207, Finding Your Soul Purpose, Conversations with the Other Side with Scarlet Poretta. She's a clairaudient. We're going to talk about that. In this episode, we answered questions such as what would you do if you could hear spirits? If you could have a conversation with someone that has passed over and is on the other side, as well as our soul have a purpose? And if so, can we find out what that is and how we can change that? This is an amazing opportunity to really understand a little more about what a clairaudient is and how we have the ability to do that ourselves. We're going to learn some secrets, some behind the scenes stuff, and more. I'm your host, Michael Herst. I'm here with my co host and lovely wife, Diane.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the show. Hey, welcome back. First and foremost, we'd like to sincerely apologize for the lateness of this particular episode. We've had a lot going on this week involving many things, including technical difficulties with the computer. If anybody out there that owns an Apple product, you'll understand. Monsoon storms and damage, and our daughter's car being stolen out of a locked garage that we all had to take care of, and it kind of put us a little bit behind schedule. So,
Not
sincere apologize.
not to mention, I was sick this week.
And she was sick this week. So, sincere apologies. But it just emphasized our connection with the angels, the universe, and our belief in the system in that regard, because we were able to talk to our angels and connect the universe, and we actually got our daughter's car back the same day it was stolen, and they arrested a suspect, and it was intact, about
Yeah.
99.5% intact.
Yeah. And Southern California.
In Southern California, yes. So it worked out pretty well. So now that we get that out of the way, as a quick reminder, please remember to smash that subscribe button and or follow button if you're on YouTube and or any one of the other platforms we are on. It just sends us a little bit of love to let us know that we're doing the right thing and bringing you the best of the best. Now let's have some fun. So, Diane, in that episode, what'd you like about it?
Uh, I loved a lot of it about it. She and Seth both, Seth Dietland, the other very
Angel.
episode that you did, um, they have this calmness about them. That was probably the first thing I noticed, that
Yeah.
she can make me calmer just listening to her. Why I would really love to connect with one-on-one, do some talking about things, because she's just a calming influence.
Yeah, Scarlet Poretta, she's a really fascinating individual. I really enjoyed talking to her and having the conversation that we had. And just so you all know who we're talking about, my guest in that episode was Scarlet Poretta. She's an intuitive medium. She's known to the world as Scarlet. As a child, Scarlet was able to see spirits, read energies, and foresee events which for many years frightened her, and she didn't quite understand them and how they played into her life at a later date. In spite of the fear and the understanding, she felt a calling to go to the universe, which pulled her in the direction of helping others live the life they're destined to live, like the one we should all be living, and connecting with our mind, body, and our soul. I profess that throughout, I'd say about 90% of my episodes. She uses her unique abilities to bring clarity and peace in the journeys of those reaching out for help. She, again, as I said earlier, she's a clairaudient, which we'll talk about here in a second. She hears whispers that are life changing, and her sole purpose is to provide tools to help those to manifest and live the life they're meant to live. I really, honestly enjoyed this conversation with her. I felt that she was genuine. She was a great um, instigator of, I don't want to say instigator, a conduit
Mhm.
of having a
Yes.
better understanding of how we can connect to the other side when the other side reaches out to us, and how we can kind of understand a little more in depth. We've had a lot of conversations lately about soul, connecting with the soul, the in between, life on the other side, and angels. We have a fascination with it, and I think that this particular episode helps you to kind of get a better understanding of that from another perspective as a clairaudient.
Right. And how to know what your sole purpose is for being here, and how to really live through that. So I think that's, I mean, it was a great episode. I loved it.
What were some of
Um,
your favorite things with it? Well, first I probably should explain what a clairaudient is.
yeah.
You listen to the episode, you'll on any one of the other platforms that are out there, or on the website beforeyougo podcast.com, but or on YouTube. But a clairaudient is an individual that she's a psychic medium in general, but the difference is she's a clairaudient primarily, which means she'll hear whispers and she'll hear conversations, and she'll be sitting here like you and I having this conversation, and you could be a ghost. I could be a ghost, and you have a conversation like a normal person. And you can ask questions, you can kind of feel what's going on, you can listen to what they're saying, what their responses are, and then she passes those messages on to others. So that's what a clairaudient is. It is mostly audible. She can hear them. She has seen them, but she mostly hears them. So they'll, sneak up on her and whisper in her ear and, this kind of a thing. Hey,
Okay.
we're back. We had a small little glitch.
Um, yeah, so the clairaudient stuff, it was interesting that she brings up that we all of us really have these abilities. We just, most of us don't use them. Most of us don't know we have them. Most of us don't know how to use them. I think that's what happened to me. I'm sure you remember years ago. I
I
was
do.
working, I was in school full time, and that's when apparently I became clairaudient. And every night for a long time before I'd go to bed, and I've been studying, I've been working, I was exhausted. So I guess maybe it's this specific level of exhaustion when they decide, hey, let's talk to her.
Yeah.
And I tried to, I mean, I really tried to, uh, work that ability and really get into that because I've always wanted to be able to do that. But it just came to a point I was just too exhausted, and I just said, "Can you guys?" Because we researched it and we were told
Yeah.
to tell them to, right now I can't help you, but just give me some space. And they gave me all kinds of space because they've never come back, and it's
Well,
so disappointing.
yeah, it's kind of, but she said you still have the opportunity to kind of reach back out and open that door again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's how we present that. Um, let's not talk right now, let's talk tomorrow atmosphere. And sometimes, it may, who knows how it came across at the time. So, to them, it may have come across as, you just told me to get the hell out and I'm
Right.
not coming back.
I was a little harsh or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
Leave me the hell alone. I'm sleeping.
I was tired. But yeah, so it's pretty cool that we all can actually have this ability.
I seem to remember something about, unless you can write my term paper, leave me alone. When I had the conversation with her, I know that we resonated on quite a few things. Actually, the Scarlett is a very personable individual. She's very genuine, and that's the one thing. In over 200 episodes, and all of the people that I've spoken with that have this gift, this unique opportunity to be able to connect with the other side. There are a few of them that you could tell were. I mean, I vet my people
Mhm.
first and foremost, as you know, and my audience respects that because they're still here. But I try to vet my people. But I've had conversations with people that about mid-interview, or even in the beginning of the interview, when I realized that they really weren't genuine. I stopped the interview, and those episodes didn't air because they didn't find that they were quality, number one, or whether or not they would be of value
Right.
to this audience. And she came across as an individual that is very genuine. She's very
Yeah.
honest. And, after the show was done, obviously we didn't do this during the show, but after the show was done, I will say this now. She actually reached out to me and with a name and a person that you and I know and the kids know very well, that there's no way she would have known about this person and the circumstance behind this person's passing. And we waited till the cameras weren't rolling. so that it wasn't a drama incident. So, it's not in the episode, but, we'll talk about it here in a few minutes. Um, a little bit about it here in a few minutes. But, she reached out and said, "Hey, I've got a message for you that if this has been on your mind, and, if you've been thinking about this person." And she gave me a name, which, you know,
It
you
was
would,
crazy.
and a
Yeah.
circumstance that,
Yeah.
you would have to really be within the family to kind of know that circumstance. So, it worked. Um, I think in some of your notes you were talking about the four sets.
Yeah. And I think it's toward the beginning of the episode, but I don't want to give anything away, but I thought it was really interesting the way she explains how anything we're trying to get through in our life, or if we're trying to manifest something for ourselves, maybe the ideal career or partner or whatever it might be, there's it's more than just a mindset. So mindset would be one of the four,
Yeah.
but then she goes to the other three, um, that if you are not at peace with your life as it is, so you may be, you may hate your job, you may be alone, or maybe in a relationship that you don't want to be in, or whatever it might be. If you're not happy and at peace with where you aren't going to be able to move to what you want to be. And that, the way she explained it though with the four sets, um, it's very parallel to what I study Abraham Hicks teaching,
Hmm.
and it's really the same concept that you have to be happy where you are. You have to be, and in your soul you have to be at where you are, so that you can feel joyful, so that you can feel content and trust the universe and trust the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it, that it's going to bring to you what you are asking for, because you have to be
Hmm.
on that vibrational
Well,
level. You have to be there. The way she describes it's much better.
yeah, and in reality, you just have to be grateful for where you are. You have to be grateful for who is in your life. I talk about this on the podcast, and I've learned this myself. I've had to learn this throughout these conversations. That's why I'm very grateful for the conversations that I have, and the conversations we have, because we have to be cognizant of what we have around us, be grateful for who we have in our life and what we have in our life before it allows the opportunity for more to come into our life.
Right.
And that was in what she talks about, and what we're just talking about came into fruition immensely this last week with us, because of the, we had the storms that were coming through here, and there was a lot of damage all over the valley,
Yeah.
major damage all over the valley. Our community within itself lost, like 25 or $30,000 worth of trees and bushes that blew down and broke, and so forth. There's some damage to some retaining walls and things like that. We had relatively minor damage, but we still had damage. But it could have been so much worse from where we're at. And we put a white light of protection around our house, and I think that it helped us, along with what was going on health wise with you and health wise with me, and then of course our daughter's car being stolen at 3 o'clock in the morning by somebody with a key, which we think came from the garage she took her car to be repaired from. So, security note for all you young ladies out there and young men: if you take your car to a garage, just be cognizant of the fact that make sure that you vet the garage really well, and make sure that you understand where you're taking it to, because they made a copy of the key and showed up to her address and walked up to the second floor in a locked parking garage,
Twice locked garage.
twice
There's
locked
like
garage.
two levels of something you have to get through, security that you have to get through.
Yeah. And they were able to sneak through that, and they were able to walk right up to her car, put the key in the ignition, and take off. Well, luckily, we have a fantastic blue family from the law enforcement arena, and they were able to apprehend that suspect later that day, and took the vehicle back. So we had talked to our archangels and connected with the universe and asked that that vehicle be returned intact, and about 95% intact. it was. There was a couple of things that were minor, and of course they stole some things out of it. Which now that they have a suspect, they can find out whether or not he pawned it. If he pawned
Yeah.
it, they can get it back. So they answered our prayers. That the whole point of that was, we just asked. We opened up our opportunity. We asked for some help, and we received that help,
And we trust it.
and we trusted. And we were very grateful for what they did and what they didn't do. So that's on a quick side note, but it kind of all pertains to the same thing. I know that you liked how she was, how she got into doing what she does.
Yeah. Yeah. How lucky. I mean, my goodness. We should all be so lucky to have our sole purpose just kind of drop into our laps like that. She describes it, in the episode, so I don't want to give anything away, but she wasn't looking to do this necessarily as a career. Just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and somebody needed a psychic of the day, quote unquote, and it went from there. And she states that she has never had to do any advertising for her business. It's all been word of mouth.
Well, it's because she's really good.
Yeah, exactly.
She's
Exactly.
just really good. I listen to her on a couple of other, as I do all my guests. Like I say, I vet my guests, so I take the time to listen to them on other episodes, other of my colleagues. I won't say competition, but my colleagues
Yeah.
uh,
It's a podcasting family.
podcast exactly.
Mhm.
And so I take the time to listen to them on there. So for several reasons, one is to make sure that I bring you something new and refreshing,
Right.
as
And
well
not
as
questions.
don't ask the same questions. So with regard to that, I could see it across the board. She was genuine on all of those, and she brings herself, which is really a good thing, I think. And what she teaches us is that to recognize our soul
Yeah.
and to understand we all have a soul, and that our soul needs to um, have a purpose. We all need to have a purpose. I know we all want to have a purpose. And sometimes we have to reinvent our purpose. I did it. I was a police officer, as you know, and my audience knows, and those for you coming into the new um, portion of the family. Uh, Basically, I'm a retired police sergeant, and I was injured, and I had to reinvent my life, and I reinvented it with apprehension at the time, but I did it thinking my sole purpose was to be a police officer and to continue up the line and to continue to help people and to protect and to serve. And I did that very, very well for a long time. But being faced with having to reinvent what I needed to do, I was a little lost. And luckily, I got put on a path and I was able to determine that now I have a new purpose. And now my soul feels good because I'm able to help other people in a different way. And I can reach more people through this medium
Yeah.
than I can ever have done as a police officer. As you know, we've had conversations in over 59 countries we're listened to. And
Mhm.
I've had conversations all over the world and different cultures, different people, different everything. And it allowed me to find new purpose with helping to spread the word and spread the medium and to understand that we always have one more thing to say, and this is how you do it. And, this is your opportunity to do it. So we all want purpose. We all want purpose, and she helps us to find that.
Yeah. And she um, confirmed the belief that I've had, and you have too, that we come into this life with a soul contract to do
Yeah.
something. We know when we come here and we've agreed to whatever it is that we're going to go through. Um, Unfortunately, when we get here, we forget that, which
Yeah.
I get it. I understand why we have to then live the life to figure it out. But boy, it would be nice if we could just get some, which I guess,
A
which
little
is what
book.
our soul knows. So we just
Yeah.
have to live. We have to be in tune with our soul to get to what that contract was about. Um, but I want to figure it out.
I think when we're born, we should all come in with a little booklet.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the little booklet, just open the page and it'll tell you, see, just follow step one, do this, step
Soul,
two, do this.
Yeah, that would.
Well,
Um,
you,
yeah,
the,
that's why for one of these days because I'm getting older. I need to figure this out. I need to figure it out.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Let's. I'm going to let everybody listen to a little bit of a clip here, or not just listen, but watch and listen both. A little bit of a clip to help understand Scarlett's perspective.
That's usually what gives us the wisdom.
Exactly, life experience. Um,
Mm.
there's a couple, if you don't mind. So if we were talking about educating, and you just mentioned educate, let's educate everybody exactly what you do. I know that you're something earlier I said in your introduction, a clairaudient.
A
Can
clairaudient,
you help
yeah.
us understand what that is?
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's one of those things that made me crazy, it made me feel crazy for the longest time because a clairaudient hears things. So they hear whispers, they hear sounds, they hear them as clear as day. it's it's alarming sometimes, and I've had some interesting experiences with that, and I've had with gratitude, when I say this, that I've had opportunities to have, something tangible prove that the whisper I heard was actually real. So I'm actually hearing something. There is an energy that's emitting some sound, and I'm picking it up.
And we're back. That was a great clip. I really appreciate that clip, and I think that it kind of gives an eminence of what exudes of what she's all about. Um, I think when you and I were talking about this prior to this starting, you had liked how she receives her messages and the different
Oh,
senses that she uses. So, I mean,
yeah.
I appreciated that as well. But maybe you could help explain a little bit about.
Well, it struck me how she said that when she's receiving messages from people from the other side, that um, she can receive these messages in all kinds of different ways through any of her senses, and sometimes they will, and it's like to confirm something for the person she's reading for. Um, they might let her taste coffee or something, and maybe a certain type of coffee that only the people she's reading would kind of know, relate that to that person that passed over. Um,
Like a
or
vanilla chai tea.
right, right. What else was the other thing? Oh, I can't remember what she. Anyway, she uses some good examples, but I found that kind of interesting. I don't think I've heard that before from other psychics.
I think some of the shows. I wish I should have taken his name down. The kid that talks to all the Hollywood people. He's got a new show on Prime or
Oh,
Netflix.
Tyler, Tyler.
Yeah,
I
Tyler.
can't think of his last name, but yeah,
Yeah, he had a show on cable for a long time, and then
Hollywood. He's the Hollywood medium.
yeah, the Hollywood Medium, and now
He,
he's got a different show that
right.
he's talking. He delves more into his own personal life as well, and how
Yeah,
he came about all these gifts.
right.
He talks about that. He says that he gets smells and he
That's
gets
I
yeah.
forgot it. I forgot it too. But so there was some one thing that she talks about in the show, and I can't recall right now what it was that I thought, oh, that's really interesting that they would give her that, But I think it's great that she's able to give some confirmation to whoever she's reading for of that person that's coming through.
Yeah, I mean, it really is because it allows us to, well, like she did with John with me.
Hmm.
It was something that that like only John and I would know. And she told me about it, and I kind of knew that. Well, yeah, that's John coming through. And again, we did it off air, and it was not asked for. I did not solicit it.
Now,
It was
you
just
guys
something.
are about to hang up,
Yeah,
and she said, "Well, before we go, I feel like I have a message for you, And so, of course, you were like, yeah,
she said,
because
"Yeah, just do you know this person and this person about this and this and this?" And I went, "Yes." So it just kind of yeah, it's pretty cool actually.
fortunately,
Um,
you have people on the other side that could have been giving you a message.
I know one of your other favorite parts was she has an experience with um, her sister,
Oh,
which again
I
we
just,
don't want to give everything away in the episode, but
no, I found it interesting that her sister also has abilities, but they're slightly different. But she didn't go into detail about what those were. Um, but I would think it'd be great if we could get them both on the show and talk at the same time.
It's a really good idea. She said she had another conversation with me, so if she'll have
Maybe
another conversation with me, we can ask if her sister wants to come on. I don't know if her sister's practicing it.
right.
You'll find out in the episode her religious background and where that comes from and how that affected her as she was learning these unique gifts. But you'll have to listen to the episode to kind of get more involved with that. Um, do you remember? Do you remember when I had an experience with like a demon voice?
Well, yeah, because it was when we were collecting the notes for this episode, and I went, wait a minute, rewind that. So in this, she talks about that she has had at least one demon experience, which
Yeah.
was freaky. Um, and then you also mention in the episode, you say, well, I've had that as I had a demon experience as a child. I'll never forget it. And you weren't really talking about it that much, but there is a sound that shows up in the audio as you're talking about it.
Well, it's like a voice.
Yeah, but you can't really understand what it
Can't understand it.
says. It's
But yeah,
definitely a voice.
there's a voice pops up, which I didn't notice when I was editing. So you just happened
And
to.
I actually didn't notice it when I first watched the episode. It was when I was rewatching it to really kind of take down some notes for today's episode.
But she
And
talks
that's
about an experience with a demon herself.
right, right. So, but it was really coming through when you were talking about yours, which worries me because we've
Yeah.
had that happen before in
Yeah,
other episodes.
we did. If you go back and listen to, it's a special episode of Laura Powers, and
Hmm.
I don't know off the top of my head what episode number that is.
It's
Um,
an early,
it is an
it's,
earlier one,
yeah,
but then I did a follow up with the demon voice, and
yes,
there the demon growl, and you can hear it when we were doing that because we were talking about dark angels, and
yeah.
we kept having some technical issues that popped up in the middle of the interview, and all of a sudden you can hear this, and again, that's something you picked up. I didn't even recognize it, and
Clairaudient. Hello.
clairaudient. Yeah, it was like, oh, geez, it's kind of funny.
Voices.
Um,
The only voices I can hear anymore are demon voices, apparently, which isn't a good thing.
well, we gotta wrap this up here pretty quick, but I know that you in your notes, you had talked about how fear can serve a purpose for how it and other lower vibrational entities are constantly fighting for our attention.
Yeah,
Um, let's
she
talk
she
about
gives
that.
very good advice about that. I don't want to. She can obviously explain it a lot better than I can, but there's a couple of questions we can ask ourselves when we feel like we're fearful of moving forward with something. Um, and then depending on the answer, you ask another question, and then if anyway, she'll describe it in the episode. I really highly recommend everybody um, watching the episode for that because I think it
Mhm.
can help all of us when we're afraid to move forward in our life with something or just a basic anxiety
Yeah.
issue, whatever it might be, any of those lower vibrational emotions. She gives us a way to move through those.
And what was your favorite part of the episode?
I think just overall her demeanor and her calming voice and nature and just overall just her. She's very real and very um, believable, and I don't know, just the sense I got from her.
And you like what she said about those who have like passed on and getting closure.
Oh yes, yeah, and I don't want to give that away either, but let's just say any of us who are concerned about what might have happened when a loved one passed on if we weren't there, or you know didn't know until after the fact, or anything like that, anything that we might be concerned about that those who passed on may be still concerned about, maybe we feel like they're angry with us or whatever, don't have to worry about it, and she'll talk about that.
talk about that as well. Yeah, great episode. At least from my perspective, I think from your perspective as well. I give it a thumbs up. Of course, I'm the one that had the episode, so an interview, so that's why I can give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I absolutely enjoyed having a conversation with her again. I'm looking forward to the next one. Maybe I will ask her about her sister and see if her sister wants to come on. But you all, please take the time to go back and listen to it. It was just up last Wednesday. It's episode 207. It's also on YouTube, so you can find the links in beforeyougopodcast.com. Look for the latest episode, 207. Well, this will be the latest episode, but the one prior to that, 207. And take a listen to that one. And any of the other ones that you might catch your fancy on. One more thing before you go. This podcast is here for you. We're here to talk about everything between life and death and everything in between, help you to get closure, give you the tools necessary to move forward in life in a very positive way. And we would love to have you, follow us, subscribe to us, sign up for the newsletter. We are about to launch the newsletter finally. But if you sign up for it, you'll be one of the first ones to get involved with that. And don't forget to smash that. Everybody says smash that. I don't know if I'm I sound like I could sound like one of those ring guys, right? For the boxing, I can turn my voice really deep and say, smash that button and follow us and subscribe.
Well, and speaking of that, we did have a milestone or a couple of milestones on the podcast this week.
And thank you to all of you.
Yes.
We have a couple of parts. One, we're over our 200th episode. Obviously, we're on episode 208 right now.
So that wasn't this week, but it's recent.
Recent. We went over 1,000 views on YouTube, on our new YouTube channel, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us there. We really appreciate it. You can find that anywhere on YouTube. One more thing before you go. There's some links on our website, beforeyougopodcast.com, that you can go to YouTube and watch this as well as listen to this on any of your favorite platforms. So that was a milestone, which I thought was fantastic. And
top 10%.
Oh, yeah, this was great. You guys have helped us reach the top 10% globally of the most listened to podcast globally. We're in the top 10%. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you being part of the family. Please share. Please keep joining the conversation. We appreciate you. And reach out if you have a story. We want to hear from you.
And if you want to come on and talk on a Sunday.
Exactly. You got something to say about one of the episodes? Send me an email, Michael at onemorethingbeforeyougo.com. That's MICHAEL at onemorethingbeforeyougo.com. And let me know you're interested, or go on the website, hit the little microphone, send me a voicemail. I'd love to talk to you if you want to come on the show about any one of the other episodes. We'd be glad to have you on the show. So, one more thing before we go. Have a great day. Have a great week. And thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.